Hi everyone, I'm MaryAnn. I'm a voice coach and visual artist from Singapore, currently in Singapore, and welcome to another installment of my weekly vlog series, Find Your Voice. So this is where I share whatever I'm learning and have learned so far in my journey as a singer, as a voice coach, as a singing instructor, and overall as a person who is all about expressing myself. And not just through singing and verbally, but even in the things that I do, even in the way I live my life, in the things that I want to pursue, in creating a worthy and meaningful purpose for myself. Because to me, every single thing that we do in our lives is our way of expressing ourselves. Whatever career path you've chosen, whatever your dream is, whatever interests and passions that you have, the things that you really want to say, like all of these are intricately tied to who we are and whatever it is that we truly want to express. And so when I call my series Find Your Voice, I don't really just mean like your actual voice. I also mean like your capital V voice, which basically encompasses all of these things. And ultimately, I believe that, we are like artists who are painting like this masterpiece painting. And at the end of our lives, when we look back, then we can see what is this masterpiece that we have created. What is it that we have been trying to express over the course of our life in terms of who we truly are and what really matters to us. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments, or you can also write to me through any of the links that you see in the write-ups below these videos, and I will record a video and answer them, or I will reply you, whichever is needed at that point in time. Okay, so for this week's topic, I want to talk about waiting. And the idea for this came about because recently, if you tuned in last week, I shared that my cousin has been hospitalized and he's been unconscious since then, so it's been like a little over a week. And so we still don't really know exactly what happened, but the latest update I got is that he's kind of a little bit more stable than he was just a few days ago. So at this point in time, it's almost as if it's like a waiting game. Like we're just waiting to see what will happen. So that's one thing. The other thing is that, in the process of me working with different clients for the voice, and in the process of me working on my work as an artist as well, I get the sense sometimes that there's a certain sense of impatience of wanting things to happen now. It's like we put in a little bit of effort to do the work that we need to do to get to where we want, and then we get tired and we get frustrated when we don't see the results that we want. And it's not so much that we won't see the results that we want, but it's more like we have a warped idea that it's gonna happen really, really, really soon. It's almost like, I want to see results now. I want my answers now. I want the outcome now. And I think that has to do a lot with the times that we currently live in, which is all about instant gratification. And just go on your mobile phone and you can easily get pretty much almost anything that you want, provided you live, of course, I'm assuming like, first world country people, obviously that's the reality, right? And if you live in a big city, of course, then it's very easy to get most things. And even if you don't live in a big city, compared to just like 20 years ago, it's so much easier now to get the things that you want. Like it's easy to go online now and order stuff that you can't find in the store. If you are hungry and you don't feel like cooking, you can just go on your food delivery app and find something to eat pretty quickly, unless you're indecisive like me and you take forever to decide what you feel like eating. And if you are, horny and you want to get laid, you just go on a dating app and, match with someone, and then, they seem attractive enough, you meet and, whatever, right? It's not, I don't even know if people still pick up people at bars nowadays. I don't even know if that's still a thing. It seems to be in a TV show, so I would assume maybe it's still a thing, but don't know. Yeah. Anyway, what the point I'm making is that it is so easy now to get whatever we want instantly. And the third example that is that, it's like if you want to connect with someone who is living overseas, your loved one who is overseas, it's so easy to just open like your chat app like WhatsApp and just go on video chat with them. Whereas in the past, we have to write letters and wait for like weeks before you receive their letter. yeah, so a lot has changed in the last 20 years or so in terms of how we live our lives. And so we're very used to instantly getting the things that we want. And because of that, we are no longer used to the process of waiting, the process of letting things unfold in its own time. I mean, you just go on Instagram, right? And you're going to see all these different sponsored ads, depending on the post that you look at, of course. And that will guarantee you, you know, fast results with like the least amount of effort. And who doesn't want that? I mean, everybody wants that. But the reality is that most things and most of the time, it takes effort, it takes time, it takes consistency, it takes a lot of discipline for us to ultimately get the outcome that we want. And that whole process from where you are now, point A, to point B, where you want to get to, there is this whole gap where it will take time, and that time means that you have to wait. And it's not so much waiting like, you know, you just sit around and do nothing, but it's more like that time from point A to point B, however long it takes, it will pass anyway. And if we're not really doing anything that forwards ourselves in that time frame, then that time would pass, and obviously you won't even get to point B. Because point B, when it comes to our dreams, when it comes to our goals, when it comes to doing something that matters to you, point B can only arrive when you have done the work consistently in that time gap in between. And of course, when it comes to things that are unforeseen and outside of your control, like what's happened with my cousin, it's not like anything I do would speed up his recovery, but it's about your life still has to continue. Like, I know it's difficult when someone that you love is ill and you're just waiting for answers, because we are also hardwired to want certainty in our lives, but your life is still yours and it has to go on. Like, your work towards your dreams still has to go on, because in a situation like this, sometimes it's not clear how long this person is going to be in this situation. And as much as we can wait and hold the space and be there for them and for other family members who are affected by this, our life still has to go on. We cannot just put everything on pause for something that is uncertain. And yeah, and so I guess what I'm saying is, like, another analogy is like, if you're waiting for your friend and you're supposed to meet your friend and your friend says they're going to be an hour late, are you going to just stand there and do nothing for an hour? Or are you going to go, maybe go to a nearby cafe and read a book, or catch up on your emails, or catch up on your messages or something? Like, that time of waiting is not really a time to just sit around and do nothing, but it's a time of consistency. It's a time of putting in effort and cultivating a sense of discipline and a sense of patience with yourself also. And this is where I think it's really important to also stress that a lot of things, in fact most things in life, it does require some effort. Well, a lot of effort, depending again on your natural aptitude when it comes to learning different skill sets. Because sometimes you have a natural aptitude for it, you learn it pretty fast. Sometimes you don't have a natural aptitude for things, you're going to take some time. Same thing with the voice. I believe everyone is a naturally born singer. It's just that as we grew up, our expression kind of gets limited, and that's when we lose that ability as we get older. So if anything, when you're working on your voice, you are regaining that ability, because we're actually undoing some of these limitations that have been placed on you from learning how to speak, from the language that you grew up speaking, from the bad vocal habits you picked up from your primary caregivers, from whatever psychological and emotional traumas that have created certain internal barriers within yourself. We're basically undoing all of those things so that you can go back to that natural singer that you were born to be. Okay, so basically that's the frame, right? But like, for most people, because we have gone through those limitations in our voice, it seems like we're not naturally gifted singers. And of course, there are going to be some people who are gifted in the sense that they have the right situation that allow them to develop their voice from a very, very young age, the right environment, the right kind of training, and it allows them to excel a lot faster in that area. But for the rest of us, everyday singers, we may not have that luxury. And so if working on your voice and expression, not so much to become a professional singer, but just to express yourself better in your life, to be more authentic in your expression, to overcome performance anxiety or embarrassment or whatever, fear of judgment that you have from other people because of these barriers to expression, you're going to start at whichever level you're at. And for some of you, it will take a much longer time because maybe you also never had a background in music, which helps a lot with singing, but it's not everything. And so we need some time to also build a little bit of foundation in that so you can understand what that's about. And then it takes some time to get used to being in that frame of hearing your singing voice versus your speaking voice. And then it gets, you need some time to get used to also expressing yourself with your voice. And even if you are pretty experienced as a singer, there could be other hurdles that you need to overcome as well that could take a long time, even though you can naturally sing. So it really depends, and every single person's journey is different. And ultimately, there is still this gap that we want to cover from point A to point B. And who knows how long it's going to take you to get from A to B. But the key thing is that during this time of waiting, because you're not really waiting, but during this time of waiting till you get there, it's about how do you consistently show up? How do you make the best of today, every single day? So it really comes back to what I shared last week about how do you make the best of today, such that you move yourself forward just that little bit. And then tomorrow you repeat the same thing and you move yourself forward just that little bit. And then the next day you repeat it again and you move yourself forward just that little bit. And ultimately, over time, you will start to see that result of you having moved from point A, where you are now, to point B, wherever you want to get to. And it is not something that you would... part of it also is that we won't see the results just like that because you hear yourself every single day. So when you hear yourself every single day, you're not going to hear much difference in your voice. But when you have a recording of where you are now at point A, and you make recordings of yourself progressively over time, like one day, maybe at the 50% mark between point A and point B, however long that is for you, you listen to your recording again from point A, and you go, oh my gosh, did I used to sound like that? And that would show you that you have progressed. And the thing is, you can't let the expectation that you want results now to stop you from continuing in this journey and keep going at it. And this applies to anything that you want to learn in life, not just with singing and your voice. Really, anything that you want to learn, any skill you want to develop, it is the exact same process that you have to go through. And that's why that process of waiting is an essential part that we have to learn to manage, we have to learn to adapt to, we have to learn to understand that this is not a time of just waiting for things to happen and hoping that things would move along faster so that you get there faster, but it's really a chance for us to take it slow, not too slow though, but take it slow at your own pace and keep improving a little by little until one day the wait is over and you will get to the outcome that you want and the result that you want. So if you have enjoyed today's video, subscribe to my channel on YouTube, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments, or you can also directly message me through any one of my social media and other links which you see in the write-ups attached to these videos. And I will see you next week.